Were you on site at an event or maybe in a recent production meeting and you heard the term IMAG and you were like, I don't know what that is? Well, I'm going to explain what IMAG is, how to use it in a sentence, and how it relates to your event production so you are more in the know at your next event or at your next production meeting. Before we jump into it, I'm Logan Clements. I'm a freelance event producer based here in Seattle, Washington, but I execute events all over the world, and I am very passionate about making sure we all understand the terms that we're talking about, and there is no gatekeeping here, so I'm going to get into this definition for you. But before we do so, I do want to remind you to like, subscribe, turn on that little notification bell so you get notified every single Monday when I drop new videos. If you like more free content, I am the co-host of the Better Events podcast with fellow event pro Mary Davidson. It is a podcast where we talk more in depth about different event topics each week, from show calling to fundraising tips for your next gala, to tips about how to be a freelancer, manage your stress as an event pro, you name it, there's an episode for you, and you can listen wherever you listen to podcasts. So like I mentioned, I get really excited, about making sure that we all understand the terms we're using because trust me, I was just like you. I heard this term IMAG and I was like, I have no idea what this is. If you're like me, you probably wrote it down. You hopefully Googled the term. Now you found me. Hi, I'm Logan. I'm here to help explain this for you so that you're more in the know at your next meeting. And you can be like me, where now I use the term IMAG all the time. And there was a day where I didn't know what it meant. That being said, I've used the term a lot. I knew what it meant executionally, but I didn't know the actual definition or why. We have a lot of terms in events, I feel like, where we don't know the why behind it. We know what it means at the end, but like in terms of why we say IMAG to explain this thing, I didn't know until I was Googling for this episode, and I'm going to put the little screenshot right here so you can see it. But the purpose of an IMAG is to magnify the person's image so people farther from the stage can more easily see your speaker. So what do I mean by that? IMAG is anytime you're taking the live camera shot to your screens in person. So this is your projection screen, your LED board. If you have cameras in the room, video cameras, and you're taking the live footage of your speaker talking, kind of like if I was here right now, you're watching me on YouTube. This is technically kind of like an IMAG. You're nice and zoomed in on me. We would take that to screens. That's called IMAG. So it would be like, do you want to show your slides or do you want to show IMAG? Or maybe do you want to show picture in picture, which that means IMAG. I'm going to do another video on that, but IMAG plus slides. So I do enjoy that there's always a new way and something you can always learn. I honestly didn't know it was IMAG because it was magnifying your image, but I'm going to keep that in my back pocket because this question comes up a lot in meetings because AV techs, producers like myself will throw around these terms and maybe not everyone in the room knows what we're talking about. But so IMAG for you is going to be anytime you want to take your live camera shots to screen. You can use it to refer to any camera shot. So maybe you have multiple cameras, one even that's like a wide shot or a close shot. Another example for you to help wrap your head around this would be if you were going to a concert. Everyone nowadays, it's 2023, it's the summertime. We're all talking about the Taylor Swift Eras Tour. And I will tell you that most people going to see Taylor Swift are experiencing her concert because of IMAG. They cannot see Taylor Swift that big. They're in these big arenas, they're big stadiums, they're super high up, and she's teeny tiny. But if they're using IMAG or using cameras to magnify the person's image on the screen, it's so much easier to see. You're still feeling like you have pretty decent seats no matter where you are. So you'll see this in concerts. You'll see this utilized in sporting venues, especially anything that has really big, super large groups. I will say IMAG maybe isn't as important if you have a really small, intimate conference or meeting or event. But anything once you start getting over that 100 people and folks are you'll see physically seated far away. I would suggest doing this. And now you can't do IMAG unless you have cameras. You have to have cameras. They can be manned cameras, meaning there's a person, an operator behind it, zooming in and out. They could be robocams. They could be a static cam. Your most dynamic are going to be the ones that have a physical person. So especially if you have a speaker who likes to walk and move a lot, the camera can follow nicely. Versus if you have a lower budget and you're just I've used them at events before, we've used robocams that are on a little joystick where I can then follow and zoom in. It's just not as dynamic. But yeah, so that is what I mean by IMAG. Hopefully you feel a little bit more in the know. I probably will do a part 2 for this because I feel like I could talk even more about proper uses of IMAG. But this is just to give you a basic understanding, and hopefully you now are in the know of what IMAG is, and maybe you can drop the actual definition to people, because I'm sure you'll stump some event pros who are very well known in the industry, know their stuff, and maybe they just never knew the why, because why do we call a camera shot IMAG? Well, now you know. You're welcome. That brings me to the end of my video. I'm Logan Clements. I'm a freelance event producer based in Seattle, Washington, executing events all over the world. And this brings me to the end of another video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.